Okay.
Tracy, how are you?
Very well. How are
Very
you?
well. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you. You're an inspiration. I want to ask you about the journey that you took, which is definitely it's a big change, and it's something that people are always ask themselves: shall we make a jump, a change in our life? Why did you take this decision to really leave this 10 years of in banking, investment, and to fulfill your dreams?
Okay. I mean, for a short answer is because I was just not very happy doing something that I know wasn't fulfilling me. What I mean by that is I was waking up to a job that was just redundancy. I was just constantly doing the same thing on autopilot over and over again with no soul, with no purpose. It was good for what it was back then. I think I had a very good start to my 10-year career where I was going with my full heart and full passion. At that age, what I wanted was to get into a high-end job, be the only girl on the desk doing trading, get myself trading out of the London office. I mean, there was a lot of goals that I had that fulfilled me in my 20s. When I hit my 30s, I didn't care about those things anymore. It just didn't matter. What mattered more is that I was waking up every day doing something that I cared about, that felt like I had some sort of purpose that was beyond serving an industry that just didn't matter to me anymore. So that's why I left. I mean, it wasn't as easy as, okay, today I'm going to leave. I've spoken about this a few times. It was 2, 3, 4 years of me being with friends who are passionate, who do jobs that they love, and who are telling me, Tracy, this doesn't suit you. How are you still in this industry? And me stalling, making up excuses, saying that, good excuses actually. I'm getting paid very well. I'm not going to leave a job. I'm getting paid well. I'm very senior right now. I'm not going to leave because I just worked 10 years. I don't know what else I want to do. I'm not passionate about anything. I don't have anything else to fall back on. These were all valid excuses. But later did I learn that it's never easy to make a change. It's always going to be very, very difficult. So whether you get fired or not, whether you have a passion or not, even if someone is fully passionate about something, like my sister, she loves dancing. She always did. She was in corporate as well, advertising for 12 years. She wouldn't leave. And I used to fight with her and tell her, you know what, Ray? I mean, you know what you love. You could leave tomorrow. I have no idea what I want to do, so it's a stupid thing for me to leave. But it's still difficult. She couldn't take herself to that place where she's like, okay, I'm going to do it. Until I did it, and she saw, okay, if Tracy's doing it and she doesn't know what she wants to do, then I think I can do this. You need a bit of push sometimes.
Yeah, but it's so hard لأنه عم ترجعي أنت to start from zero.
Yeah.
وأصعب شيء فيها إنه it has so many parts, but maybe sometimes it's financially. It's like, is it how I'm gonna survive, or how I'm gonna start from zero? I'm gonna leave a job that's making money. It's a comfort zone, كمان.
The biggest part for me was financially. I don't have a backup. I don't have any parents or uncles or aunts that I go back to for money. The last time I got paid, the last time I got money from my parents, I think I was 19. So I knew that this was all me. And not just that, I also help with family support back home. So I found it very selfish if I were to leave. Not only I don't care if I have tuna cans for 6 months and sleep on a friend's couch. I'm easy. I was worried that I was going to fall short on my responsibilities back home. So that for me, it was the biggest fear.
كنت مجوزة شيء؟
No. I was never married. Even that, I don't even have a husband a partner to say, you know what, let me step in right now. So it was just purely me and with dependents. So it's almost like a single mom with kids, let's say. She's going to let me think 10 times before I make a decision like this because I have people depending on me. I also have people depending on me. So it was difficult for me to take that decision comfortably. And at some point when I did take the decision, I أصرت. I had fallen short of some responsibilities. I asked my sister to step in to help until I was able to get back on my feet, push through, start making money in the new industry, and then I paid her back, and then I was back in the game. So there will be a sacrifice of some sort.
يعني كان في support من الفامily.
What?
To take it like don't worry about it, take that decision, because most of the time we don't change, as you said, like it's either for because a single mom has a responsibility or has kids or a parents that you need to take care of, and if they don't support you, not financially, I mean, if they don't support you and tell you it's okay, we can manage, do what you like. So you had that support?
Look, I obviously had the underlying support, but at the forefront, more than the money, it wasn't because of the money. At the forefront, it was more because of the position I was in. I had my family and friends initially say, Tracy, I mean, are you sure? Like, you're going to really leave? And what are you doing? Because you don't even know what you want to do. It's not like you have a business plan set for a new strategy. It's not very intelligent for you to leave an industry that you've built for 10 years. It was true. It's not like it's such a weird thing for them to say. But people who knew me really well knew that this was not you. You really need to like get out of this as soon as possible and figure out what you want to do. And I'm the kind of person that bounces back. I'm resilient in these things, so I wouldn't break. I would always go back to finance if I couldn't make it, and it's not a big deal. But of course, my parents were not very comfortable to start, but then when they started to see, okay, wait, hold on a second, this is, I mean, it's also a generation gap. So obviously they're going to be like, you know, the finance role, and you're sitting in a desk and you're doing a corporate job versus what? You're going to do sports? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. That's not really a career. And then again, I didn't even know I wanted to do sports. I just stumbled across sports, right? So as soon as there was some light in the new industry, my parents were like, wow, this is amazing. I'm so glad you left. Like, I'm very, very proud of you that you followed what you wanted to do, and the narrative started.
بس تريسي، في شيء أنا حاسه إنه في شيء خلاكي تاخدي هذا الديسيجن. It's not only passion, because you mentioned هلا إنه عم تقولي it's sport, but it wasn't even.
It's not passion.
It's not the passion.
I just wanted purpose, like something that felt. You wake up to and you don't realize that you're really working. You're just doing it out of the love for the industry, the love for health, the love for wellness.
But في trigger, and I'm missing the trigger. I'm sure there's something happened that triggers you to take that big decision, to move from a well-established or beautiful career that you have already. يعني it's not only 10 years because you studied, so it's 10 years of working in this industry, but you've studied all your life to get there. And then to make this change into something where you mentioned it's not passion, I need a change.
Yeah, the trigger was I was encountered a few times with people in my old industry or personalities in the industry that I no longer respected. I didn't want to be associated to this kind of industry anymore. At that time, it was obviously when there's a financial hit to the economy, so everybody was on edge, and you see bad colors when people are on edge. So when and it started to get to me, it wasn't one of those things where I could just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know, this is the industry, it doesn't work. So I just found that last card, that one incident where I'm just like, you know what, I'm not going to look back. I even got a job offer on the table with a very good paid contract, and I said to myself, don't tell anybody about this contract, because if I tell, especially my family, and I don't take it, they're going to hold this against me for the rest of my life. Didn't tell anybody about it. I told all headhunters that were calling me, please don't send me any new proposals or any new contracts. I'm not going to join the industry anymore. Please give me some space. So I just literally took my space, watching my bank account drop every month. And I just kept thinking to myself, I doubted myself. I'm like, oh my God, that contract was like such a good position. How did I say no? But then I remembered, you don't want to work with these kind of people anymore, or this kind of industry anymore. Maybe I got unlucky, but I just saw it in different parts, through clients maybe, or through peers, or through colleagues, or I just kept seeing this repetitive persona in the industry that I did not associate to anymore. And when I started hanging out with people outside of the industry who were more free, liberal, well-spoken, comfortable, I'm just like, this is more my vibe, and I'm going to go for it. I can't live like this on that end of the spectrum anymore.
Great. So it's more the industry that pushed you out rather than
passion that pushed me in.
Yeah. Which is the greed and then the probably it was 2008 or something.
No,
it's
it was 2007 I started. 10 years later, 2018.
Okay, cool. It's a great decision. Tell me how did you decide to go all the way, and how financially you can support, like how did you financially try to change this into a career, like the sport, you're doing gymnastics, and you're doing...
I'll tell you how it happened. So obviously I was just spending from my savings at the beginning, held very tight onto everything. So anything that seemed luxury at the time, which was luxury at the time, cut out from my life. So I had a personal trainer, cut out. I used to do drinks outside of the house or dinner or whatever, cut out. All of those things were cut. And then you realize just how little you need to actually spend. I used to think that I needed all this money to spend every month, of course, but then you realize when you really hold tight and you're like, this is not right, I started spending less. But how I started making money was a while later. I think a year later I started making money. All I did at that point was say to myself, you know what, I want to do more of what I like. I kind of like training. I used to follow these Instagram accounts of people doing flips and handstands, and I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do that. That's very difficult. I was 31. And I said to myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to join this gym that I'm following anyway, so I'm going to try it out. I walked in, felt like the smallest person in the room. I used to train, but weight training, basics, 3-4 times a week at the gym, the 1 hour I have in my lunch break. So I started doing that. And at this point, Instagram was kind of coming about. I had a private Instagram account for the longest time. I went public, and I had like 2,000 followers. And I think because I started posting my progress, people saw me from falling on my face, progress to maybe doing a little bit more. Oh my God, 3 weeks ago I watched her do fall from a handstand. How is she doing a handstand? So maybe that inspired. I hope it did, because it inspired me to keep going. And people started following my account. And then simultaneously, obviously, the famous poncho. I used to post my bird a lot. I was spending time at home a lot. So kind of grew my following then. I think my first paycheck started from a brand collaboration, which saved my life. Oh, okay, Tracy, we like your content. Can we collaborate? Can we pay you to market on your platform? I'm like, amazing. I'm going to finally get paid. Thank you. So I will always be grateful to this industry. I know a lot of people may not take the industry seriously till this very day, but it is an industry. It pays my bills. It has paid my bills for a very long time. And then when I got good at the sport and I started really liking it, people asked me to teach them to handstand. I'm like, I don't know if I can teach you. But I started teaching people that were joining the gym. I'm like, look, you know what you should do? You should maybe move your hand a little bit forward, press a little bit more against the floor, and I think you'll hold it. And then they hold it. They're like, oh my God, this whole time I've been trying to nail it, and I couldn't. And I think my position in the market is I'm not the best athlete. I'm not the oldest athlete or the one with the most qualifications. But what I came in, where my position works is that I was just a beginner 6 months ago. So I know exactly how it's like to be in the mind of a beginner. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're feeling. I know what your fears are as a 27-year-old. I'm not an athlete who's training someone who's like 13, who has no inhibitions. So I know what she's feeling or he's feeling. And I know how to correct it at an age where you're so far past athlete. And that worked to my benefit. Yes, so it was easy for me to correct people. I knew exactly what they're thinking. Sometimes it doesn't work to your advantage when you're an athlete and you've been doing a flip for 20 years, because your explanation would be like, okay, but just throw it. You no longer remember the feeling of being a beginner. So you kind of miss that gap. I know exactly what that person's feeling. I see that foot, and I had the same foot 6 months
Yes,
ago
yes.
when it wasn't tucking properly, for instance. So it helped me.
Well,
So I
people
started
can
doing
relate
workshops.
to you a lot. مثل ما قلت Tracy, يعني you didn't start from the early age, and then you're saying I'm not that, let's say, extreme expert
Yeah.
in this. I'm a normal person who just started, and then a little bit of consistency, and I reached here. And this is more يعني أسهل للعالم إنه تفكر, you know what?
To swallow it. Maybe I can try it. If
I can
Tracy was
try
able
it.
to do it in 6 months. مزبوط.
Exactly. لأنه sometimes لما بتشوفي trainer لما بكون perfect, عرفتي كيف بتحسي
It's
المشوار
unattainable.
المشوار طويل يعني.
Exactly.
It's something hard.
Exactly.
مشان هيك كمان it's a big يعني small things can be an inspiration for a lot of people, and they just need that little bit of twist. If she can make it, I can make it. وفي أشياء كتير يعني مرات صار معي experience إنه شفت كنت أنا بصور يعني بعدني بصور models و beautiful women وهيك. So there was one gorgeous model, and I was speaking to her, and I tried to push her to be on my Instagram لأنه she's, you know what she told me? Hikmat, I have insecurities. And I was like, oh my God, you have insecurities. She's gorgeous. And I said, like, it's, you know, you need to talk about it. لأنه it's going to help a lot of people.
Of course.
If you have insecurities looking like this, so gorgeous, amazing, famous, you know, it's gonna make people feel better sometimes if you have the strength to talk about it. So هالأشياء كتير مهمة إنه نحنا to, you know, نساعد غير عالم وبنفس الوقت to express ourselves. and أنت يمكن you found it that it's, you know, yes أنا الكارير اللي عملته أو اللي بدي أعمل كارير بالسبورت, بس it's more of getting people into what I did.
As opposed to only showing the final result. I showed everything.
It's not technical.
All the failures in between is exactly what my idea was to show, because I knew I was going to do it. There's only so many times you're going to do something until you actually get it. You can't possibly do something over and over again without seeing some sort of result. So why not just show the whole journey? Why just show the picture perfect? I think with Instagram or with social media in general, how it started, people stumbled across it. We just thought it was a fun app. Everyone was using it, and eventually it started being an app for business. And at first, the standard practice was to put your best and most beautiful, your families, your lifestyle, the best edits, the best everything. That's what Instagram was about. You show the best of your life. And I think just followers start getting bored of that or started getting anxiety because of it. I mean, everything is so perfect, but I'm going back to my life and it's quite shit. So what the hell is going on? And then it started changing narrative that people no longer care about this picture perfect picture or the couple goals photo that is so beautifully lit with a beautiful background. Okay, whatever. But what people started appreciating was, oh my God, this woman who I thought was picture perfect just opened up about her body image issues. This guy just told us that he's failed this many times before he was able to succeed in this role. And when these people started becoming more honest on the platform, and not just in their lives, it opened up a different comfort to people showing insecurities. I think that's a beautiful thing. It was so important. Because honestly, if Instagram or social media kept going in that direction of everything is so picture perfect, I mean, it would have caused a lot of distress amongst a lot of people. You see that a lot still. But because it's balanced with the other end of things, now you can pick and choose.
والستوريز شوي ساعدت إنه to give you more reality على اللي عم بصير يعني rather than the post which is like, yeah, that's my life, I can talk about it and this. And what's beautiful كمان إنه the whole industry got shocked من يعني people are saying what they like and what they have in their mind, and then نحن كلنا forced by the polished material اللي ما كان عنا مجال إنه نشوفها إلا pushed for us by TV or in the media. But when this Instagram opened up and created a platform for each one of us to express themselves and to tell their story, whatever it is. So صار حتى it shocked the industry in a way that brands started to think about, you know what, we can't fake it anymore. We can't create an image that can last forever if it's not a real image. That's why they start to reach out for the normal people. I mean, we are all normal, but they are not normal being fake or polished. And they start to reach to genuine people who has a story, who has a... And if you look at the whole fashion or beauty industry, it was like every one of them now is talking about diversity, is talking about, you know, real you, curvy woman, ما بعرف شو, عرفتي كيف كل هيدا. It's good. So that's why everyone is started to benefit as long as you are genuine, as long as you're doing what you like, and you're a real person, you're gonna attract some sort of business and some sort of brands. When you work hard, they're gonna reach out for you because this is what they are looking for. And هيدا اللي لاحظته from my work when we used to shoot a lot of models and stage the image, and now it's going the different way, that it's like it's mostly now let's reach out for some influencers, real influencers, meaning they have a story or they have an face that it's normal, not very polished or not very fake, and even the material that I'm giving is more, especially for the commercial industry, it's more real now. And it has to go this route, otherwise they can't go on.
I was in the mall yesterday and I loved walking, I was window shopping, and I look into one of the stores and I saw the mannequin, fully curved mannequin. I'm like, that's new to me. I mean, I've seen it a couple of times now, but it's nice. I mean, I was thinking about it when I was growing up. Every mannequin in the store was perfectly thin and tall, and not even thin and short, you know, because you have the criteria and everything. And now I just saw like in one of the sports stores a curvy mannequin with clothes on it, and then another one that's a bit not curvy, and I'm like, this is great. This is great progression. I mean, people feel included. It's just about being inclusive, right?
Of course. I mean, it's gonna go like this as long as I think as long as we just be ourselves, we all gonna benefit. I think it's the hardest part is not to give opportunity to people. So I love Instagram, although it's just like also a pressure. يعني it's في كتير عالم بيأذيهم الانستغرام كمان. يعني it's an opportunity for some, and it's sometimes عم تخلي الناس تكون شوي صغيرة, thinking that everybody's happy, everybody have these nice images. What do you give into advice for these people?
Look, I think social media should not be excluded when you're thinking in that sense. Yani, you should think of social media like any industry. Be inclusive, like we're talking about. It's like not just an industry, it's like anything that is in the hands of man. If you put money in the hands of man, some people know how to work their money, make money with their money. Some people spend that money, some people gamble that money. It's about how you are dealing with what you have at hand. Social media is the same. Social media is not the enemy. It is the person behind the social media that's the enemy. So a lot of people will condemn Instagram. Oh, I hate Instagram. Instagram sucks. Instagram has ruined people. It's not Instagram. It's who has that tool. So I follow personally loads of people who are so inspiring that I would have never known in my whole life if I didn't open an Instagram account. And I'm so glad that I met them because they inspire me every day to want to be maybe like them or similar to them and then to move forward. And yes, it's also, the tool is also in the hands of people who show their colors, that they are probably not as inspiring. They are showing an image that is not reality. But it is up to the user. And I think we're so far into the industry right now, we're so deep into it that we know. People can tell, and I don't think you can last very long faking it. How long can you possibly fake it for? If you get into a relationship, you could be on your best behavior because you're at your most confidence at the very beginning when your partner is so attracted to you. You're going to be on your best behavior. You're cool, you're sexy, you're attractive, you're funny, you're witty. Okay, great. But then scratch the person a little bit. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, after the first fight, second fight, after you don't care about what you look like anymore, after the dinner stop, your true colors are going to come out.
Of course, yeah.
You cannot possibly fake it for long enough. On social media, obviously you can pick and choose what you want to post, but how long
you can stop a little
can
bit.
people not see?
Yes.
People will eventually see through it. So my advice for someone on social is, honestly, I mean, people don't do this for some reason, but just mute people. Mute the ones that bother you. When you're feeling a bit of anxiety or you're annoyed by somebody, maybe they're a friend or they're someone you know, you don't want to unfollow them, just mute them. It brings you peace, it truly does. Instead of going into the account every day and thinking, oh my God, look what she posted today. Oh my God, look what she did today. That's not going to help you. That's actually, she doesn't care about you. She's going to do her thing. The only person that's going to feel anxiety is you. Just mute the person, and then you no longer have to see what you don't like, right?
Yes. That's a great advice. بس كمان كيف الأشخاص المشكلة إنه كمان even if you look at these genuine people, it's a profession كمان. عرفتي كيف؟ It's a lot of creating content. في كتير أشياء بدك تعمليها. وفي strength انه تكوني to express yourself on it's a TV. يعني Instagram is a TV where you have to talk, create stories, and so هاي أشياء كمان انه
it's overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming. حتى لإلك إذا أنت بتقولي I'm this is my career, this is I want to influence people, I want to help people, okay, through my journey, my sport career. But you are putting a lot of materials and you're working hard. There is another full-time job.
Look, it's me and my friends who are all on the platform, sometimes we go through phases where we're very uninspired. If you see me off of Instagram for 2 weeks, it's because I really have nothing to post, nothing to say, and honestly, I don't feel like talking. I just want to detach. But what does that come with? Unfortunately, what the industry does to you, what the algorithm will do to you, is it will lose you a little bit. You stop posting, you're just...
بيقدغري, you know, it'll punch you immediately.
You cannot take a break from social media if your goal is to grow. Now, if I don't really care, if my number one goal is not for my followers to jump, then fine, I can kind of take a break. But people whose goal is to jump, you cannot take a break from social media. This is fact. I've gotten lost in the algorithm. Friends of mine have gotten lost in the algorithm for 6 months because they just decided to not post for 2 weeks on holiday. And also, you don't always have something to say. This is the thing. So especially the people that are in adventure or sports or fashion industries where they're going to Paris Fashion Week and all of those things, when that stops or they're not going, what do they talk about, right? So you kind of think, and why do I always have to entertain? This was my thing, that I sometimes felt, I'm not talking about what I want to talk, now I have to entertain. I don't want to entertain. I'm not a clown on this industry, on this platform, to like make sure that everybody, all these people are entertained. Like you said, you act as if it's a TV show, and you're the star of your own TV show. That's not what I want. And
people بدهم كل يوم الحلقة جديدة اللي بدها تنزل.
Exactly. And if you don't, like, where did you go?
Yeah.
I know. I just don't want to post today. But I think I got past that, and I just post what I see is necessary. Sometimes you post unnecessary things, people do. But the more you just, I guess, put yourself back in check, just post what you want to say. Don't be an entertainer unless you want to be an entertainer, you know?
وcreate a real life on parallel لأنه المشكلة إذا أنت إنه you're just an Instagrammer or an influencer يعني you only do it to have material to post.
Correct.
But I think you should just live your life.
100%.
يعني go live your life or things will be collected.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I know people whose lives are virtual.
It's true.
Outside of that, they don't have much, and it's very, very disturbing to see such a beautiful life virtually, and I know them personally.
Yeah.
And even if they're out in a party, their main intention is to capture the footage on their
material
on their Instagram more than actually having a good time. Once they capture it, okay, cool, so I gotta go, and they're introverts and they have anxiety and they need to leave. It's very disturbing. I mean, I've seen this a few times. I'm like, wow. I mean, God, please never put me in this position
Tracy,
where I don't have a good time outside of my social media. My social media is my good time, and outside I'm so awkward, and it's very sad.
It's happening a lot. في كتير. I know a lot of people. It's just they slowly start to be overwhelmed or unhappy. And because they raise the bar, they put this picture perfect.
How are they gonna drop it?
They can't maintain it. مثل ما قلتي إنه لما تكوني بريليشنشيب مع حدا جديد, you can fake it for few weeks or a few months, and that's it, because you cannot maintain it.
Absolutely.
Which is a reality and it's something to learn from. But it's very tempting. لأنه financially it can be good. It can make you famous. يعني because it happened. عرفتي كيف كل مرة بيطلع شيء جديد. بس هلا التيك توك مثلا, everybody wants to jump in just to be an early bird. عرفتي كيف؟ لأنه you don't want to miss the fear of missing out.
Yeah. Look, I don't think it's wrong to, if this is your industry and this is your goal, like anything else, you should be ahead of the game. A new platform comes out, by all means get on it, learn about it, be involved. You're going to get lost in translation if you decide to be the only one to say, you know what, I don't want to do it. This is not for me. Okay, but then if you want to jump back in after 1 year when your ego subsides, then you're going to be lost. So if this is your industry, by all means, you need to be ahead of the game. When I was in finance, I had to learn on every single new aspect of my job, because if I don't, I'm going to fall behind. It's like anything else. The only difference is social media seems like it's not a real industry, but finance is a real industry, for instance. But now everything shows that social media, in fact, is an industry. I know people making much more money than they're making in any other industry when they're on social. But the idea, what was your point? You were saying something. Remind me.
We're saying about the new platform and fear of missing out.
Correct. But the idea is, if it's a brand collaboration, if it's a business, by all means get on, push what you need to push. Obviously, we'll get into that if you want later. The authenticity of collaborating with a brand that actually you relate to, as opposed to not relating to, because like we said, you can't fake it forever. You can take a brand that you have no relation to, but it's going to be super obvious. You're going to lose a lot of credibility. So by all means push while you're working with a brand, but your daily life, your social life, which is not a paid thing, that has to be real. The minute you put an act on those things, like it's your birthday and you're pretending like there's this huge hoo-ha, but it's nothing, you actually just did a photo shoot in the corner of your home, that's a very different story, that is disturbing. I mean, and the only person that I feel bad for is the user and the person on social, not the followers. The followers are going about their own lives. They have kids, they're dropping their kids off, they're scrolling through your page for 10 minutes a day, and that's it. But how do you live with yourself day in, day out, knowing that all of this is just not real? And what's more important for you is what the perception of you is than who you actually are.
Yes, but it's affecting also the followers a lot, especially the new one. But things are getting better. It's getting filtered. People started to know.
Absolutely. People can tell now.
People can tell. And also the market or the advertisers, they started to know. and they started to give them less business or less attention.
I agree.
and بلشوا يتخبطوا بعضهم. تريسي بدي أقول لك شغلة إنه في you're very brave in many ways. يعني first the decision that you took in your life, leaving really a big career. I wanted to do. I've jumped into photography, which I love, but then I fell in love in sport for a period of my life, and I said, you know what, it's worth it, to be honest. The enjoyment that you take from sport is amazing, but I had a good career that I love, which is photography, and this one I stayed there. But you're very brave and very talkative and very بتحبي, you know, to teach people and give them something. And one time you said, which I wanna hit on, the egg freezing thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you save this for later. صح? Is this how I understand it? It's a really brave topic that you have talked about. And do you think it's something? Aren't fresh things are better than freeze things?
Okay. So
maybe you can explain, because I haven't explained about it. If you can just explain about it a little
more.
more.
What you're referring to is me talking about the egg freezing process that I did. So let's touch on what you said about bravery. What the perception of brave is relative. It's subjective. For me, this wasn't a brave thing, because I'm just a very straightforward person.
To talk about it was brave, honestly.
For my culture, for my background, my culture, how my friends and family think about it, it's just another topic. But I realize that for people from a different culture, with different backgrounds, with more, that are more conservative, they may think, wow, that's a brave move of her to talk about this publicly, and who are very private. I'm private in things, but in these things, I'm not private. So, like I said, it wasn't me saying, okay, I'm so brave, I'm going to talk about it. It's just, okay, I'm going to talk about it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I realized on the other end of the screen just how many women messaged me to tell me, you just saved my life. I was never going to do this. Not saved my life, exaggerating, but I was never going to do it. And because of you, I'm going to do it. I never realized how easy it is until you showed us publicly. Thank you for showing us. I'm going to do it. Asking me questions. I'd revert back to the experts. I'd put them in touch with the experts. I was so happy. I was so happy to be able to help. That, I mean, it's true. In fact, there's nothing fulfilling as much as being of service. In retrospect, as much as, okay, it's fulfilling to get a nice phone. Okay, great. But it's nothing as fulfilling as like somebody saying, thank you so much. And this is why I got into sports, just so you know, because when I was teaching those people, it's not that sports is my purpose, my passion. It's the fact that I made so many people think, I can't believe I just did that. And that feeling was just priceless to me. So with the egg freezing, I kind of got a similar taste of it, where I talked about how I'm 35, I'm engaged, and the idea was for me to have healthy eggs if I want to get kids one day. It's not easy for a woman who is 35 and onwards to get children. It's very possible. A lot of people have kids easily, maybe at 30, 39, 40. But science says your reproductive system starts to deteriorate slowly from 35 onwards. Much less slow from 25 to 30, 30 to 35. It's a very slow pace. But as of 35, physics, reproductive system says that your eggs will deteriorate a bit faster. What I didn't want was to fall under what society tells me I need to do. You have to have kids now. You have to do this. You have to get married quickly so that you can have kids. And if you don't have kids by this age, I don't want to fall into that. And you know what? It's not just about society, because we've been conditioned so long to hear that narrative that I may start self-doubt and thinking, maybe I should have kids now. Oh my God, it's important. I'm 35 already. I don't want to feel that. For me, I say luckily, waited a long time before I got married, because I saw different marriages around me. One that fails after 2 years, one where people want kids very badly, but they have such financial problems that they have to delay. They've been married for 5 years and they cannot get a kid yet. One where a woman actually had ovarian cancer. She was fine. She waited before having kids, but because she got ovarian cancer, she could no longer have kids. If she had frozen her eggs, she would have kids by now. So I saw all of these things, and I realized to myself, you know what? If I'm comfortable now, if I have the means to do it, I'll do it. And what does it mean? What did I do exactly? All I did was take one cycle of my period. The egg drops when you have your period. I'll be a bit technical here. The egg drops. Instead of the egg dropping and then obviously if you're not having a baby, it will just go. I took that egg. What I did with it is I fertilized it until there are many eggs. Then I went into this after 2 weeks to the clinic. The way I fertilized it was I put injections in my stomach every day so that it becomes more fertile and more fertile. So instead of one egg, I have like 13 here and 13 here. Okay, I had a lot of eggs in my ovaries. And then what they do is they see the healthy eggs. That one 30-minute procedure is they just pull those eggs out for one cycle and put them in a fridge. So what happens is if I ever struggle to have a kid naturally when I'm 39, I have these eggs. I'm like, okay, you know what? These eggs are 34, 35 now. They're not 39. I'm not using my current eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, which is exactly what IVF is. If you hear what IVF is, a lot of women who are trying to get pregnant when they're married, they're not able to. They will do the injections, make their egg very fertile, and then take the husband's sperm and then the wife's egg, put it together for it to get a baby, and they create an embryo, which is the sperm and the egg together. What I did is I just added a step in between. I just froze them for a period of time because I'm not married, because I don't plan to have children now. I'm not doing the sperm and the egg IVF. I'm just doing the freezing first, and then I will do the IVF if I need to.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not something extra. It's not something haram. It's not something against deen. It's not something against culture. But people just don't understand what it is. All they think is it's against what the nature is. Okay, yeah, but a lot of things are against nature. Advil is against nature too. I don't know. I mean, medication in general is not nature. So why are you taking Advil and you're not using science to help you or to progress? That's how I see it. If science allows for it, and it's not hurtful, do it if you want to, obviously.
Yeah, I mean it's great to save the young eggs and have them for later if needed.
I have my fiance's brother was a doctor. He studied biology. Because it takes a long time to graduate, all of the girls in his grade at 24, because obviously they're studying these things, all froze their eggs at 24. Why? Because they're like, you know what, I'm not going to even start my career before 34, 35. I may not get married before then. How about I freeze my eggs that are 24 years old now, leave them, and then I can just do my career comfortably without thinking, oh my God, I'm so stressed, I'm not going to find a guy. Because when she wants to have a kid at 35, guess what? It's almost like she had a kid at 24. It's amazing. Why not? If you can and if you have the means to do it. I mean, I don't see a problem.
how much it will free people from this hearing yalla والأهل, you know,
100%.
and you have to have babies, you're getting older.
Exactly.
وهالقصص هيدي.
And then becomes irrelevant. All of that becomes irrelevant. Your eggs are exactly like you got married at 24. If this is the fear that you're not going to be able to have children, right?
Wow. Wow. It's such a أنا أول مرة بسمع فيها.
Exactly.
ما بعرف قد new.
It's not new. That's the thing. It's been around since the 80s, but in our culture...
80s?
Yeah.
Okay.
But very rarely did people used to do it back then. But in the past 10 years, people do it all the time. People just don't talk about these things, which is back to our point. It's important to talk about these things. People learn from it, and it will encourage them, if in case they want to do it, you know?
Great, Tracy. كل شيء عم تعمليه it's exactly just to be yourself, to أنت إذا كان من الكارير كل شيء أخذتيه, you know what, this is what I want. And I want to save my eggs because I want to live the moment and I want to live my life. It's عن جد amazing.
Thank you.
شغلة بتخلي الواحد يفكر, you know what, we should really be ourselves and get maybe detach من هول ال pressure around us.
Obligations.
obligations الأهل society. وكتير صعبة هي مرات بيكون الواحد إذا ما سافر وإذا ما شاف غير culture إنه يقدر ياخد decisions لأنه على طول نحنا we put the blame on ourselves all the time. ومصير نعمل أشياء ما بدنا نعملها بس because يعني بترضي فلان وأحسن للمجتمع وأحسن لأصحابي هيك بيعملوا وأهلي هيك بيعملوا.
I think with the age, the term usul or wishbet means less and less to me in many ways. What brings me peace of mind is a priority. What makes me progress is a priority. If something is wishbet or usul, but it regresses me or it makes me feel like I have ankle weights on, it's just not for me. We used to care more about those things when we were 20, 21, 22. It was important. Society says we should do. I think inevitably everybody will kind of grow into that. Not everybody. You have a lot of women and men who don't see it. They just think la usul is important even if it means at the expense of my mental health. It should not be.
بس اوكي ما هي بتيجي من انت how you treat your kids in the beginning, how much you put pressure on them and tell them no you shouldn't, you know what, and the kid will be like oh yes of course I shouldn't do this and it grows and so maybe you can tell me where it came from. Is it your parents were so supportive? Is it because you lived in USA? It's a free country, it's a country that can have a freedom of expressions, be yourself, talk. I mean, it's something important to say to people where this energy came from, or the power, or the to take the real decision that makes sense for you and not you don't care about other people's opinion.
First of all, I didn't live in the U.S. I was born in the U.S. I left when I was 5. So this is me growing up in Lebanon.
Okay.
And then I moved to Dubai. So none of this is a Western mentality. I just so happened to be in a school where everybody it was an international school, maybe. But my mentality changed later in life. And I think it was more because of people or things that I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be like this person. So I have to unlearn a lot of the things I've learned growing up from society, from friends, from family members, from so on and so forth, because I don't want to be this I don't want to end up like this. So I have to do a lot of unlearning and to become someone else. It's not about an epiphany or something happened or a drive. It was, you just have to fine-tune who you want to be. I think the key is self-growth. You have to be able to look inwards, analyze yourself, judge yourself, critique yourself, say, okay, I'm not a very good person right now. I don't like this part of me. How do I become better? The difference is most people would say, Ana hek, this is who I am, and no one's going to change me. This is my character. And they say it oh so proudly. This is my character. No one's going to change me. That's the worst way to be. The only form of progression you will ever have to be a better person if you are willing to set your ego aside, to say, I wasn't a great person when I was 28. I don't like this version of me. And then to think of a version of someone who you really aspire to be, or a person, forget a someone. A lot of people don't have a person in mind, but think, what would I love to look like or to be perceived like? I would love to be perceived as someone who's confident, who's someone who does sports, who's healthy, I would love to be that person. So I'm going to try as much as I can to do what I need to do to be that person. Even if it means it being so hard, like I have to wake up at 7, that means I have to talk in public, and I hate talking in public, that means I have to do this. Yeah, do it. Because if that is what you think looks like a beautiful person, do what you need to do to be that person. And even if it means doing difficult things along the way, the worst version is to always say, this is who I am. هيدا كاركتري. I'm not going to change.
Amazing. I want to end it here with this beautiful talk. I'm so proud of you. كتير انبسطت بالحديث معك. And Tracy, you're an inspiration for a lot of women, a lot of people, especially in this region.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.